Hi all, I wanted to give an update since my last post a few weeks ago in Ottawa. I have done a few things to, start working in a new direction. As I said, if your approach isn't working, got to do something different. So what I did was I changed some of my meal planning. So I was using Trifecta for my lunches, and I was using Hungryroot for my dinners, and I just canceled those subscriptions. They're very expensive per month, and I think it helped me for a while, but it didn't actually get me to my goals of being healthier. So what I'm doing instead is I'm applying those funds, which are actually less funds than those two combined, towards a health coach. I'm using this company called Balanced Imperfection, and I'm also using BetterHelp for my mental health. And I found, let me talk a little bit about both of them. Balanced Imperfection is wonderful. They are not the kind of place that's going to be like, hey, you need to make all these changes right now. They heard me, listened to me. It was very much like motivational type of interviewing to get an understanding of where I'm coming from and what my story was. And they were like, yeah, I think we're going to go really slow with you because you've had so many changes over the past couple years that we don't want to like throw a whole lot at you. And you can get nutrition and fitness coaching from them. I chose to just get nutrition, mostly because I am going to do my own fitness thing for a while. I stopped doing CrossFit. In general, I just wasn't feeling good about it, and I was like, you know what, I don't have to do something that isn't making me feel good, so why don't I just pull back the reins a little bit. Also, that pain that I have in my rear end that I was talking about, the pain, I thought it was a tailbone that was crooked, which was part of the problem. But I also found that there is a nerve that's being aggravated, and I have to confirm this with a neurologist or a pain clinic, etc. But my physical therapist, my pelvic floor physical therapist, and I were able to recreate the pain through the therapy, and it's called the pudendal nerve, Pudendal nerve, and it services your nether regions, your rectum, and your perineum. So that's the kind of shocking pain that I'm getting, probably up to 4 times every 15 minutes. It can be shocking, stabbing, burning, it can be dull, etc. But I get it all the time, and it's mostly aggravated by sitting. So what I've done is I got one of those neck pillows that you use in the airport, like, or in the airplane, and I'm actually sitting on that with the opening in the back, and that has helped me tremendously just to like not have the pain as much and relieve the sitting on the nerve. And I was using naproxen sodium for the nerve pain. Round the clock, basically. My oncologist just now, I just finished my oncology appointment. They were like, don't do that because it can really affect your kidneys over time. So they are going to start trialing me with gabapentin, like a very low dose, which is 100 milligrams once in the evening, like before I go to bed. And then just see how that goes and see how long it lingers. He said it would be like 8 to 12 hours potentially. And we're going to do that for 2 weeks, and then if that goes okay, then maybe we might bump it to twice a day, or 2 at night, and maybe it'll linger longer in the day. So we're going to try and just do that until I can meet with either a neurologist or a pain clinic. So I reached out to my gynecologist, oncologist, and told them, hey, I've been having this problem since the surgery. Literally woke up with it. Thought it was the anastomosis, where they took out my sigmoid colon and reconnected my colon to my rectum. I thought it was pain from that. Then I did chemotherapy, and I thought it was chemotherapy can do one of two things: cause constipation or diarrhea. I thought that it was the constipation from the chemotherapy that was causing the pain. After chemo was over, I thought I had a stricture, so we did something called a barium enema. No stricture. Then I went to pelvic floor physical therapy, where they told me my tailbone was crooked, the first therapist I saw. and they did not like adjust it or anything like that. I've tried to have it adjusted by a chiropractor. That didn't relieve it either. I have this new physical therapist that's been doing pelvic floor physical therapy for like 20 years, and she's been phenomenal. And she's like, yeah, I think you're right, this is the pudendal nerve, because of all it's getting worse over time. It wasn't going forward and backward, it was just kind of hanging out in the posterior, but like as time has gone on for a year and a half, it's gotten really bad. It distracts me. I start IVs all the time for work, and I'm missing, and it's like a very simple task for me, and I'm missing because I'm so distracted by pain. And I just was telling this to my oncologist, so we're just, bridging the gap, getting some gabapentin on. The side effects are fatigue. So we'll see, what happens. I can't lose my mental clarity for work. There's tons of different treatments available for pudendal nerve neuralgia or entrapment, etc. First, they have to officially diagnose you by, usually it's like doing a block. But I'll talk more about that later when I actually meet with someone and, confirm what's going on, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So, long story, I am not choosing to do fitness coaching with Balanced in Perfection at this time. I'm just sticking to walking. So my Balanced in Perfection coach told me, you've been through a lot. I don't want to do much to you. Just give me your food diary for like 3 days. We'll use that as a baseline to just maintain, but I am going to give you a maintain your calories, but I am going to give you a protein goal once we know what you're eating. But my first 2 goals from her were to drink 50 to 60 ounces of water a day, which I often don't do because I'm so bad at it. And then I always have been. It's a long-standing issue. And then she wanted me to walk an extra 1,000 steps a day, because I told her I usually get around 6 or 7 a day just by work. So she's like, I want you to get to 8. So those were my 3 goals, was just to track my food through MyFitnessPal, drink a little bit more water a day, and walk a few more steps. Along those lines, my therapist that I got through BetterHelp, let's talk about BetterHelp. That was wonderful, because when I needed help, I went through my insurance, I went through my doctors, they were giving me referrals, etc. It was going to take 3 to 6 weeks for me to even potentially see someone, and I needed to see someone right away. And so I had heard about BetterHelp before, and I was like, let me just check it out and try it. Would they go through this whole like screening thing and all these different questions, if you need spiritual care, if you need a man or a woman, or what kind of issues you want to work on. I have anxiety, depression, trauma, childhood trauma, medical trauma, etc. There's all different types of things that you can say, like, so I just plugged in all of the things that could potentially be affecting my mental health, and I ended up with this woman. If you don't like your therapist, it's totally fine. You can switch at any time. They're very open about that. It's not an issue. You don't have to worry about hurting someone's feelings. You just want to get the right help. Well, I liked working with her, and so I've been doing that. She also recommended that I walk just 10 minutes a day. She did this depression screening, and I was severely to moderately to severely depressed, and I did this. She's like, I just want you to walk 10 minutes a day, get outside and walk. There's something about nature that's very healing for your mind. So I have been getting outside and walking. I just take the dogs with me, but guess what? I've been going like mostly an hour every day instead of just the 10 minutes. It started out with just like around the block. Like the first week, my husband would be like, hey, take the dogs. Hey, take the dogs. And he's telling me what to do, and that just makes me not want to do it. But resistance. But I would do it because I know that's what I needed to do. And so I would, drag myself to go and walk around the block. And then now it's like I need to go walk around the block. I enjoy it so much. I love it. The weather has a big factor for me too, and how much it boosts my mood. It's warm out. The dogs love it. They're very tired when they get home. We go through the shady areas of the neighborhood. A couple friends have been reaching out and walking with me, and that's great too. Like sporadically, but it's nice to know that I have them that they're reaching out and wanting to help me along this journey. And so those are three things that I'm grateful for, is that I decided to, I mean, so many things really, that I decided to change my approach, and that I have this nutrition coach. I'm excited about what I'm doing. I'm excited to track my stuff now. I'm hitting my goals. She gave me a protein goal. She's like, we're just gonna start there and we'll just do this and maintain this for a while. And it's been really great. And they give you all sorts of, you know, educational tools, like how can you boost your protein, and, you know, what does a breakfast look like? Because I used to cook. I'm a very, very good cook, but I would do all these really difficult recipes and etc. I'm not there mentally, so I need really simple things. And these handouts and these educational tools that they give you are just like, oh, thank goodness, it's so simple. So another thing is my husband's been mostly cooking the meat, so I will just be like, all right, I'm gonna make a little stir fry and some, you know, carbohydrate for the side, and, you know, or if I want to have pizza, I've gone back to gluten-free. That's been really good for my mood. I think it's really been a big impact. So like I'll buy a gluten-free pizza. It's usually like some kind of a Parmesan or cheese crust or whatever. I buy them at Costco and Trader Joe's, and then I'll have like a side salad. So I, you know, look at the, you know, calories and the protein in the pizza and the fat, etc. And I just go, okay, well, I'll eat like 2 slices of this, and I'll eat this side salad. If I need protein, I'll put more protein in the pizza or in the salad, or I'll drink a protein shake along with the salad or something, so I can still enjoy some things that I want to have and make good out of it, and it still pleases me. But I don't eat pizza all the time. I'm mostly eating like stir fry or something like that. And at lunch, I decided I love sandwiches. I'm a big sandwich. I love sandwiches. They just make me happy. And that's really what this Balanced in Perfection is about what do you want to eat, and like how do you make that work for your goals. Like they're just doing technically macros. So I buy gluten-free bread, I buy the lunch meat that I want, I use mustard, there's my sandwich, and then I eat a side salad with balsamic and like cucumbers and tomatoes, and I'm like really happy about that. I love balsamic, I love, you know, the green salad, and yeah, I love sandwiches. So I'm okay with eating a sandwich every day for lunch if that's what I gotta do, because I just like it. And then for breakfast, I'm usually doing like a Greek yogurt of some kind with extra protein mixed into it. I use Equip grass-fed beef protein. I'll mix that in there, so I have like a protein-heavy breakfast, and like maybe some berries or freeze-dried berries on top. And I always have like a half of a bagel, or like a gluten-free pita bread, half of a gluten-free bagel for breakfast, just to give me something to, like, you know, different textures. So that's really what I was missing in my previous life when I cooked all these things. There wasn't a lot of texture. It was all like mushy food, like always a soup or always a, you know, something. It just didn't have a lot of like crunch or things like that. So I'm enjoying the foods in general much more, and I'm grateful for that too. And grateful that my husband is cooking all the meats for me for my salads or my stir fries, which is really great. And another friend reached out to me to do a devotional. I had picked out a daily devotional I wanted to do about depression in this Bible app that I have, and it was really great. I think between the two of us, this person never mentioned that they were depressed or anything, but come to find out that it was helping them a lot too, and they started to have their own self-discoveries by going through this devotional, and we were, you know, bonding and connecting and helping each other through when you decide in this app, if you invite someone to do the devotional with you, there's always a commentary at the bottom, so it's almost like journaling together. You get to process the information, that what did you get out of this, and where, you know, etc. So you get to have some back and forth. It's with someone about like what's going on. It's really wonderful. So just helping each other was really nice. The fact that they even volunteered to do it with me was really wonderful. And I think we both got something out of it. So change your method. It really does work. And does that mean I'm happy all the time? No, I still have some struggles that I'm dealing with. I was open to talking about my childhood with the therapist. I really don't think that anything from the past really bothers me. And I'm not sure that the medical stuff bothers me, but I told her, I said, I do want to explore this because it is so fresh and new. It's clearly the biggest change in my life that, yeah, let's talk about that. I don't know that it's bothering me or not. I know there's certain things that bother me sometimes, like the chronic pain, for example. That will definitely lead to depression. I've been dealing with this pain for 1.5 years, and it's a very important nerve. I don't know any person that would be like, yeah, set my penis on fire and let it burn like that. That feels great. I am happy. Like, I don't know any guy that would say that. So guess what? Women aren't saying that either. And, I'm just glad that I'm starting to, advocate for myself and put myself out there. And it's awesome because, like, for the first time in a long time, I'm starting to feel like myself again. And it's just the combination of all of these positive moves that I'm making. And today I went to my oncology appointment and they wanted to weigh me, and I just said, no, I don't want to be weighed. Patient refused. So you can refuse anything that you want. Just because your doctor wants to do something doesn't mean you have to. And I'm not saying that's always in your best interest. Like, for example, if I wanted to refuse my CA-125 blood work, that would not be in my best interest. But they don't need to know. Like, we don't need to track my weight. I know my weight is changing because there's some pants that I'm wearing today that I wore a couple weeks ago that fit way better today than they did a couple weeks ago. So I know my weight is changing. I know that all the extra steps that I'm doing and this hour of walking is working for me. It's making me feel better. I am feeling better. I'm a little disappointed to not be able to work my muscles because I'm really afraid of my pelvic floor causing me so much pain. There is a connection between my movements in my left leg and increasing the pain in addition to the sitting. So there's something going on there, and my pelvic floor physical therapist and I think it's this muscle called the obturator internus. So it internally rotates your leg. So if you have your foot, so if it's your right foot, well, this will look like your left, but it'll turn your toes inward if you're thinking about your hip working that way. There's something about that in it, and that muscle will also stabilize your hip during certain movements. So for example, when I go to put on pants or underwear, when I go to put on my left leg, it's fine. But when I'm stabilizing on my left leg to pull up my right leg, my right pant leg, or put my right leg through a hole, I start to get that pain. And so there's something going on with that. There's still more work to do, but just progress, moving in the right direction, getting clarity, getting education. I feel like for me, it's always been, education is powerful, and it makes me feel better just to even know what's happening and why. It's very relieving. It's very relieving of stress. So just understanding the situation is good, and it means that if we can understand how it's functioning, we might be able to, within that function, stop the pain from different approaches. So, like, if that nerve is firing and it's really upset, it's going to cause all my muscles to be super tense, and that tension is just going to snowball and make more pain because it's causing tense muscles around a nerve. So we got to find a way to get these muscles to relax and to not be so tense. And I don't know if, gabapentin is supposed to relieve the pain, but I don't know if that necessarily affects the muscles per se, but I'm thinking it might. I don't know the mechanism that as well as probably a neurologist would, obviously. So those are some questions that I have that I'm trying to wrap my head around. But overall, I've been doing much better since that last post. I like to keep it real on here. I like to let people know they're not alone. I'm not all about being positive all the time. As I've said many, many times, you feel what you feel. That's okay. The things that have happened to me are sucky. It sucks. I don't think I've done anything to deserve it, that's for sure, but this is the situation. And I get to process that, and I get to feel bad about it, and I get to feel crummy about it. But when I'm stuck in that state like I was, I know I need to move on and get external help, because I was not able to I couldn't get out of it. I do think gluten was a big factor. I used to have issues with my mood before. 10 years ago, I went gluten-free, and my mood was like, boop, like so much better from getting rid of it. So I think that was a factor. I also think the naproxen sodium, taking it as often as I am, it's not nice to your stomach. So that can actually create more food sensitivities and things like that. So I think it was a very good decision to get rid of, hopefully naproxen sodium, and get rid of gluten, so I don't keep destroying my gut and, causing more issues with my mental health. Because your gut is full of neurotransmitters. Your gut is full of immune cells. And those two things can impact whether you're sick all the time or not, or if you're in a bad mood or in an anxious mood all the time or not. Like, it really does matter what you put in there. So that's what I've learned from my experience with food sensitivities along the way. I'm just throwing it out there as something to think about. Other people I've known have said, yeah, I think this is definitely, like, I have a friend that has psoriasis. She's had it since she was young. She cuts out gluten, or like goes on an elimination diet, and the psoriasis goes away, and then she just eats however she wants and it comes back. So there's something in there that is irritating her that causes the skin issues. I used to have, not psoriasis, what was it, eczema? I used to have eczema on my shin and on my ankle. And, I went to dermatologists, gave me creams. This is like, again, over 10 years ago. Gave me creams, it didn't do anything. Went on an elimination diet, totally gluten, totally corn. There was something about both of those that would flare it up immediately. And I stayed away from those things, and I didn't have it anymore. And they call it autoimmune. That wasn't the case. So it was just something going on in my digestive system that was tripping my immune system. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I am happier, much happier. I'm feeling like my old self again. My mood is uplifted. I still deal with things. Cancer isn't just, as I've said before, it doesn't ever really, I don't think it ever really goes away. It's always kind of in the back of your mind. You always have these reminders of it in the healing process. It can take a very long time. And the final thing is, I asked my doctor about the fatigue that I'm having with CrossFit and stuff, and he goes, do you know how many people are trying to do CrossFit that had both of their ovaries removed, their uterus removed, part of their colon removed, went through chemo, on a PARP inhibitor, etc.? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, basically no one. So you need to give yourself a little credit that it's okay for you to be kind of tired if you're doing these things, because nobody's doing it. It's because it's hard. He's like, you just, need to, it's okay. And I'm like, but I get what he's saying, but I'm not at a point right now where I can go and feel crummy and be happy about it. I don't know anybody that is like that. And with my mental health state at the time that I was pushing through and not progressing as I think I should, for me, like, I was kind of stuck at a certain level that I couldn't get beyond, and it was like months and months and months and months, and I'm like, ugh. because I thought it was the anemia, I thought it was the PARP inhibitor, and it still could be, but it's really just like, hey, you went through a lot and maybe you should try yoga. I was like, okay, maybe, I don't know. The walking's been great. I really like it. I'm much happier walking than I've ever been doing CrossFit the past year and a half. So I definitely, it's like against my mentality to do things that just make you happy. And it's against my mentality to, you know, be status quo and not try to rise. It's a struggle that I have, and I just let it go, and I'm like, you know what? I am just gonna walk, and that's gonna be fine. And I'm gonna be happy about it, and I am. And I actually am just happier just walking. And that's okay. I was walking with my husband the other day. I'm like, I'm happier, so I'm just gonna keep with it. I don't know if and or when I will go back to CrossFit. I have to get this pelvic floor situation under control, but I think I'm just happy that and grateful that I can walk and not have that be irritated because I'm walking. It's nice to have an outlet, you know, and I think about working on my core, but my core is something else that is connected to the pelvic floor, and I'm a little hesitant and a little, like, I don't want to make it worse. So I want to be guided on how to use my core, probably from the physical therapist. So that's where she and I are at. We're starting to incorporate some core work. Sorry guys, this is a really long video, but I've just had so much to say. I've just had a really great few weeks. I'm glad I feel like I'm on the other side of this really long funk that I was in. Woo! I'm really glad I'm on the other side of it. So there's a lot of hope out there. There's a lot of changes you can make. Do them at your own pace. I made a bunch at one time, but that works for me, might not work for everybody. That's okay. You do you. You do what you need to do. I don't have kids. I don't have like other people that are counting on me other than my job. So it's easier for me to do these things. This is not the expectation for anyone. It's just ideas on things that you could do. This is how I'm handling it. You might have some other ideas for yourself. But there is hope. Things do change all the time, especially when we take a different approach. Take care.